Hello, class. Welcome back to another session. Today, we're going back to my passion project, so to speak. Please don't tell the Foundation. They will blackbag me. But we are going back to the Fallout universe. That of the video games, the TV show, the tabletop role-playing game, etc. And today, we have a bit of a special episode. For today, we are talking about the vault where it technically all began. The vault of the very first protagonist of the very first Fallout game. And that being Vault 13. Now, as some of you may already know about the lore, whether you just watched the TV show or just getting into Fallout, etc., you know that the company that created the vaults, Vault-Tec, was not exactly the most ethical company on the planet. And if you know anything about the other vaults, they typically had something wrong with them, or they were part of some grander experiment that had variables that were influenced, twisted, in case to just simply test something, just to simply see what would happen. So a lot of you are probably wondering what this was. We'll get into it. So, Vault 13 itself is located in Southern California. Construction for the vault started on August 13th, 2063, and finally ended in March of 2069. It was designed to originally last for 10 years. Keep that in mind. The vault itself could support around 1,000 people, which doesn't exactly sound like much. That is basically just a really small town. But you have to remember, these are vaults. These are bunkers that are just buried underneath the ground or beneath mountains or piles of rock. The fact that it could support 1,000 people and do so well with food, water, etc. is actually pretty remarkable, especially when you consider that this wasn't just some hideaway. This was meant to survive the literal apocalypse. And not only could it do that, but also support 1,000 people while doing it. It's actually pretty impressive. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are just nipping at the bit. Get on with it. What is the great grand conspiracy for this vault? What is the secret experiment? What is the underlying variable that Vault-Tec hid from these people when they signed up for this vault? Well, that's the funny thing. There isn't one. See, not all of the vaults that Vault-Tec made were these horrid conspiracies or these horrid unethical experiments. A couple of them were just control vaults. Just simply bunkers built underground to see if people could just simply survive. And Vault 13 was one of these vaults. Granted, it was only designed to last for roughly around 10 years, but the reason for that is not quite exactly what you would think. It wasn't exactly designed to just fail after 10 years, like everything wasn't just going to shut down after 10 years, so to speak. But in reality, it was simply meant to last at least 10 years, because that's when Vault-Tec theorized that the Enclave would be ready to repopulate the wastes with people uncontaminated by radiation. Now, if you don't know what the Enclave are, they honestly deserve their own video at one point, and I will get to that eventually, trust me. But long story short, they are essentially what they like to call the remnants of old America, descendants of people who escaped to an oil rig, outlasted the apocalypse, and now view all wastelanders, all ghouls, all mutants as essentially not people, and believe that they should be exterminated because of it, so that people uncontaminated by radiation, quote-unquote, can repopulate the wastes and take back America. At least, that's what they believe and think. There's a lot more to the Enclave than just that. I'm very much summarizing there, especially a lot of their history, but we don't have time for that right now. So, as I said, the vault was only designed to last for 10 years, However, the first Fallout game itself takes place in the year 2161. And if you'll remember, construction for the vault ended in 2063, and the war itself, the nuclear war that is, started in 2077. So this vault lasted much longer than it was originally supposed to. And we don't quite know why. At least I couldn't figure out why. Obviously, it wasn't designed to fail after 10 years, so probably just good upkeep kept it running for that long. But we don't know why the Enclave didn't come within that decade like originally planned. Maybe that wasn't the plan and Vault-Tec just assumed that that was how long it was going to take, or maybe something happened with the Enclave that kept them from getting there, or maybe they just didn't even know the vault was there, which honestly wouldn't surprise me. We don't know, and hopefully one day we'll find out. But prior to the date of December 5th, 2161, the water chip for Vault 13 malfunctions. And this is the starting point for Fallout 1. The Overseer, that being the leader of the vault, had sent several members of the vault out into the wastes in hope of finding a new water chip so that they could have purified, clean drinking water again. But all of them failed, never to be seen again. That is until you come along. The protagonist of Fallout 1, simply known as the Vault Dweller. Now, I am going to get into a bit of spoilers for Fallout 1 here, so if you want to avoid that, click off, play the game, come back. Everyone all good? Fantastic. Eventually, you do succeed in finding a new water chip, and it works. However, with your Tales of the Wastes horrifying the Overseer, he sends you out to get rid of the super mutant threat once and for all so that your vault can live in peace. And you do. But when you get back, you're not given a hero's welcome. In fact, the Overseer tells you to leave. You see, he thinks people will follow you. After all, you left the vault. You went out into the wastes, and not only did you survive, but your tales, you've brought back tales of people who are out there, alive and well, who are descendants of people who didn't make it to vaults, and people are out there, and they're living. In fact, they're making small communities. Some places even have, like, law and order. The wasteland is not quite as dangerous as it was originally led to believe. In the vaults, many think it's just simply an uninhabited wasteland. But you're living proof to the contrary. And if you can make it out there, other people might too. And so he's worried that you'll convince people to leave. And so, the protagonist, the Vault Dweller, is kicked out of Vault 13.
Everyone will want to talk to you. Every youngster will look up to you and want to emulate you. And then what? They'll want to leave. What happens to the vault if we lose the best of a generation? What if we are the only safe place in the world? You just gave us back all these lives. I can't take the chance of losing them. I've made a lot of tough decisions since I took this position, but none of them harder than this one. You saved us, but you'll kill us. I'm sorry. You're a hero, and you have to leave.
Now, it's not all doom and gloom. Eventually, that Overseer that betrayed you is in fact assassinated. And the Vault Dwellers of Vault 13 build a supercomputer to be the new overseer of the vault, so to speak, even though they don't really keep the title of overseer. It's just a supercomputer now, but regardless. This new supercomputer allows Vault Dwellers to leave the vault if they so wish. And a few of them do. And they follow the Vault Dweller, and they eventually create a new community. And this community is where we start Fallout 2. An amazing story for an amazing vault. Funnily enough, the lore of the vault itself isn't necessarily what makes this story. It isn't the grand experiment that draws us into this vault. There's no underlying horrid experiment that happens. Instead, what drives us all to this vault is simply this is where it all began. This vault is borderline mythologized in the Fallout community, as it is, frankly, the whole reason why we have this franchise to begin with. And not only that, but it is strangely human. In this world where everything feels so 1950s and everything is all exaggerated and there's such out there exaggerated weapons, the story of betrayal and heroism of Vault 13 feels all too grounded. And in the end, maybe that's what drives some of us to it. But that is all we have for today. If you made it through this video and haven't played Fallout 1 yet, or at the very least haven't watched a playthrough of it or something, I highly recommend doing so. It is a truly beautiful and fantastic game. And while old, it is still an amazing experience. But that is all we have time for today. You are all free to go, and until next time.